Hi, I'm April. I am a singer-songwriter and music teacher, and today we're going to be talking about how to write a song without playing an instrument. So I made a video about a year ago that was about this same topic, but since then, because the world is crazy, I have started teaching entirely online, which means that I've come across a lot of new awesome resources for people who don't play an instrument but want to write a song. So today we are doing part 2, and I'm going to give you 5 new ways to write a song without playing an instrument. So let's get started. Number 1 is using a DAW or DAW. DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation, and they are super convenient for just about every aspect of recording music. There are a ton of great DAWs that exist, including GarageBand, which comes free on Macs, and Logic, which is a little bit pricier and more high-end. And if you don't have access to these options, there are also a ton of other downloadable or online versions of these programs. I've personally done a lot of work on Soundtrap, Reaper, and BandLab, all of which are great options. And there are a ton of great things that any one of these platforms can give you as someone who doesn't play an instrument. So as an example, I am now on soundtrap.com, and all I'm gonna do is just go to this pattern beatmaker, and then I can even just click completely random things and see what happens. So if I click, maybe I'll add another beat right there. So I think that sounds really cool. And then I could continue to add things wherever I feel like I want to. And once I feel like I've got a bunch of beats that I really like, I can X out of this, and then I can just loop this for as long as I want it. So now once I've done that, I can click add a new track. I can either sing into it using my computer microphone, or I can use a MIDI keyboard, or I can add guitar or bass. I can do all sorts of things. So for now, I am going to just click this button, and for this, conveniently, you can just use your computer keyboard. So if I wanted to play this note right here, I would just click S on my computer keyboard. So I think the easiest place to start would be to use the bottom row of your keyboard, and you can just click Z, X, C, V, B, N, M, comma. So from there you've got a major scale, or that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And using that, you can create a melody or a tune for your song. Now once you've recorded something like that, you can loop it and play it along with this drum track, or you can just keep adding layers, which is really nice because from here you're able to just completely make up your own song, even if you don't necessarily play any of these instruments. Number 2 is stealing your chords from another song. So technically, a chord progression cannot be copyrighted, which means that you can take the chord progression from just about any song that you really love and use it for your own songwriting. Keep in mind that this doesn't mean you can steal the melody, it doesn't mean you can steal the words, and it definitely doesn't mean you can steal the instrumental track. But what you can do as someone who doesn't play an instrument is to write your song around the karaoke track of another song. The nice thing about this is that it already has a structure and it already has a built-in chord progression, which means that you can write your entire song around that karaoke track, and then later you can figure out what those chords are and give them to an instrumentalist to play. So for instance, if I am a really big fan of My Chemical Romance and I love the chord progression of Welcome to the Black Parade, what I could do is just look for one of these karaoke tracks and then make up something completely new to this already existing chord progression. If you've already gone through this step and you're trying to figure out how to take this beautiful song you've written and put it to chords that are not part of a karaoke track, you can go to a chord website like ultimateguitar.com, where you can just type in the name of whatever song you're looking for and just find the chords for that song. If you don't happen to know any piano players or have any friends who would want to play this for you, you can either look online and find someone through Reddit or Fiverr or one of those other places, or you can just look for a chord generator. Number 3 is the best option I know of for non-singers. So if you do not sing or play an instrument, this is your best bet. And the trick is to use a piano. Now I know you don't play an instrument, and that's okay. You don't have to play an instrument in order to do this. And in fact, you don't actually have to have an instrument in order to do this. As I mentioned before, you can use a DAW to use a virtual piano, or you can find a virtual piano online like this one. Now, once you have a piano or a virtual piano, all you have to do is stick exclusively to the white keys. And all you're gonna do is play every other white key with 3 of your fingers. And you've created a chord. Once you've learned how to play this one chord shape, you can play a bunch of different chords. Which is great because it means that you can just pick 4 of those random chords and put them on a loop. And then there you go, you've got a chord progression. So without even knowing what the notes are, you can figure out how to write your own chord progression, just based on the sound alone. Now, once you have a chord progression, you can also go ahead and come up with your own melody. Since we're only using the white keys for these chord progressions, you can also decide to just use the white keys for your melody. While it is really, really useful to know what the notes are, you can also just go ahead and write down Q, E, T, E, W, Q, or whatever it is that you wind up coming up with. I do recommend, by the way, learning all of the notes on the piano, and if you do want to learn them, there is a video right here. Number 4 is to use a chord progression generator. You can find these in a lot of places. I personally like to use the one on songcraft.io, which for anyone who has ever seen this channel before is just my favorite thing, and I use it in like every video. But all you have to do in order to use a chord progression generator is just to click the randomize button and then just find a chord progression that fits the sound you're going for. On this website in particular, I'm gonna go over to this Progression Explorer button, and I'm gonna click it, and then I can generate random chords, whatever sounds exciting to me. Then once I have those chords, I can just click this button. Once you have a progression that you like, you can just go over here and write those chords down. So we have E minor, F, C major 7, and A minor. And then from there, you can just repeat them. So you can write your melody just by singing da 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 da, and improvising until you've got a sound that you really like. Finally, number 5 is to harmonize with yourself. In my last video, I mentioned using multiple tracks on one of those DAWs, and I also mentioned loop pedals. But if you don't have access to either of those things, you can use the Acapella app, the Music Memos app, or you could even use the GarageBand app in order to do multi-track recording. From there, all you have to do is go, and you've got a beautiful track that you can record with. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to ring that little bell so you get notified the next time I post.